talk about him every week.
I know.
I'm looking forward to the joke about Rick.
You know how I know that he doesn't? Because he never mentions what I say about him.
Really?
So, yeah. Rick speaks at free seminars for soccer clubs, leagues, and the public. He'll help your kid get into college, athlete or not. Rick is my financial advisor, and with his guidance, I've been able to give up my old job, jumping in front of moving cars and then threatening to sue. To have Rick come speak to your club, team, league, or group, or to check out one of his free seminars, call him at 978-857-7573.
And Rick is so good. You know how good he is.
How good is he?
He's so good he hasn't got caught yet.
Did you write? That was funny again. Now, did you write that, or did the woman write that?
I wrote that.
That's funny.
The woman's very happy to write other things for me for my act. And
Dale, rate.
Yes, Paul. Yes.
Put on a scale. Dave's comedy routine. You've seen it. Dave's Rick Spencer jokes. I'm up here with the Spencer jokes.
Well, if he could just do 45 minutes of Rick Spencer. He'd be on Letterman. Is Letterman even around anymore?
No,
He'd be on one of those big shows, though.
I agree.
One of those real big shows.
Letterman's only been off the air for about 8 years. I think you're doing pretty well. You're doing pretty well with that.
I prefer you not to having to use a scale to determine anything. Well,
Yeah.
for some reason it gives me flashbacks.
Yeah, every time you do like a little scale visual,
We know I'm going to be on the ground.
It brings back bad memories for Jim.
Yes.
It's worse.
You all know my scale says one at a time, please, when I get on it.
All right, let's talk about soccer. We're gonna have this on the website. There is a video circulating of a high school team, and I gotta say, the previous greatest sports video I'd ever seen was that youth hockey player who basically was taking a penalty shot and got the puck onto his stick and kind of carried it lacrosse style and flipped it past the goalie lacrosse style.
Yeah.
That was previously, I thought that was the best that I've seen. This one might be better. I'm going to try to, we've seen it, but just for our listeners, I'm going to try to describe it. There was a team called Takawa Gakuen in Japan playing in the high school tournament over there. They had a free kick in the wide area, which is the side, basically to one side, and the penalty area, outside the penalty area, there was a free kick, and the players at the top of the area, opposite the kicker, held hands, and they did a little ring around the rosy type routine where they basically ran around in a little circle, holding hands, and then they all broke towards the net, jailbreak style. At that point, the kicker launched the kick. One of them headed it into the net. It was great. It was really great to watch. If you have the chance to check it out, there are two things to do. One is to go to our website and check it out. The other is to just Google Takagawa, Takagawa. ESPN's got something up there. And I think one article called it both, Ring Around the Roses and also a maypole dance. And it was just great. It wasn't the first time this has been tried, but it was really great to watch it and a lot of fun. Thoughts on this?
I don't want to get women all up in a whatever, but I don't know. First of all, if they didn't do the ring around the rosy and they just broke from that spot, I think they still would have scored. I don't necessarily think that mattered.
Oh, I think they put the defense a step behind.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'll have to watch it again. I don't know. I just, men are different than women. I think men aren't fascinated with things that spin. Women are, washing machines, dryers. So, I don't know. It's just...
I remember being a kid being fascinated, just sitting there looking at the washing machine, going around. All right, I think we're gonna have to edit some video. I don't know what's up with you two now. Turning red.
Oh, that was freaking great, Paul. Sorry. I can't wait to go to the P.O. box and see what letters we get after that one. That was fantastic. I want to know what Tawagashi means.
Huh?
What's the name of the team again? I liked you pronouncing that.
Tagakawa, I think.
Takagawa Gakuen.
And in Japanese, Paul, that means spin cycle. Apparently.
I mean, no, it's clever. I just don't know if it's necessary. I think if you are standing in a straight line and break, or if you do what they did, I don't know that it really matters. But it is. I like this. I like the fact that they came up with something different. I always like to see.
I think it was creative. I think there's another in the ESPN story. There's also another link to the 2014 attempt by a Czechoslovakian team, and I think the Czechoslovakian team might have been the national team. I'm not sure, but they tried the same thing, but the kick sailed a little bit, and so they didn't complete the play. But I think something like that happens in anything in sports.
I'm going to be on the opposite side of Paul, saying if it's legal and it gets people to watch soccer
Oh yeah.
and watch YouTube.
But they're not going to watch it unless there's a goal scored at the end. And
Well, yeah, true.
I mean, the Czech thing, you look at it and it's like they do this crazy thing, and then the kick sails wide, and it's like, yeah, so what?
But I just mean it's good for soccer anyway, for people to YouTube it and take a look at
Oh,
it.
and if you find
Gets
the
20 people to watch soccer, I'm for it.
if you find the ESPN clip too, there's another thing done by a Japanese team where they had the moving wall, where they basically had a free kick facing the goal, and they had basically two walls.
Sure, what's it the Mexican team?
No,
Wait a minute. Start over. The kicking team is.
it's a Japanese team.
Yeah.
And they're the
Defensive
kicking
team is
they're-
making a wall.
No, they basically put two walls of Japanese players on the offense in front of, including one that's very close to the ball.
Okay.
And just before the ball is kicked, the one that's very close starts to back up.
Okay.
And then everybody gets really low. I don't know if they fell down or if they just bent down, but they all got very low, and the guy kicking kicks it over them. And now all of a sudden, they've basically created a screen, and it's a moving screen. But as they move away, they now give the kicker, the free kicker, an opportunity to kick the ball. The goalkeeper is screened, and the guy basically kicks it into the far side of the net.
So he's kicking. So the defense has a wall too, but their
Yes,
wall's off to the side.
their wall is in front of the other wall. But basically, they take their wall, which screens the ball coming through. They drop as the ball goes over, and it drops into the net.
I think it's called the Donald Trump ball. That's what they shouted while they were.
Is that
holding that ball.
really? Who paid for it? So
My favorite free kicks, personally, all involve the dummy play where you pretend that you're going to take the ball and you let it go through your legs. So we used to do one on a corner kick where I would have the guy start at the post. He would run out to the 18. Everyone's on the team like, where's this guy going? And then he sprints over to the ball, and then you play it to him, and he lets it go through his legs, and someone shoots it. And we would score. Youth soccer, high school stuff, we would score off it all the time. It's funny because kids would yell out, Coach, should we run it again? Like, the other team's not idiots. They fell for it once. I got to fall for it again. But then what I came up with was to try to do it in the wall, too. So it's kind of hard to explain, but so the other team has a wall, 5 guys in the wall. You put 2 of your people in the wall next to them.
Yes.
One of them runs across the wall and then towards the ball. Again, the other team's like, what's this clown doing? You play the ball to him with pace. He lets it go through his legs, and the other person that was standing on the wall runs behind the wall and gets it. And it literally worked because they're all just focused on that player running at it. And by the time they realize it, it's behind them, and he's running in, going on net.
I like the
That
other
was my
ones
favorite play ever.
The other ones where you take the 2 tall guys and you put them in the wall with the defenders. So you're in the wall.
Yeah.
2 guys next to each other, and they just
and
squat
rip it
down
out.
during the kick.
Right.
It's like filling the gap of a tooth.
Yep.
Which is, as a goalie,
Yeah, that's hard.
as a goalie, it's hard because you try to cover one side, and anything on the short side is probably going to go in.
Yeah.
So now you're going to cover 2 spots.
Yep. And if you're looking and you see players in the wall, even if it's the opposition players, you don't think about the fact that what happens if they suddenly drop to the ground.
Yeah.
And this was the Japanese thing. If you see the clip it's the ESPN story that has the clip of this goal. There were 2 of them. They're both really cool, and you should incorporate it.
I like the
in your
fact that
coaching.
you like something in soccer.
Oh, I love creativity. I love creativity.
Let me ask you a question. This just occurred to me right now. So you say make yourself large on a breakaway, right?
Yeah,
or on
absolutely.
a PK because you want it. But on a free kick, are you thinking about that in a free kick? Where he's
No.
you don't.
No, free kick, I want to make sure I've got I set the wall.
Yeah.
I'm setting the walls up on the post. So my first obligation is to cover most of the net. I'm standing literally with my back on the post. and I want to line my my last defender, so it's not an opposing player, up with the post, and then build the line from my right to my left, depending on what post I'm on, right? So we'll say I'm on the right post. I got my back to the post looking out. I want my right fullback, tall. I want him right in line with the post. And then it depends on how far out the ball is.
Wait a minute, we're talking about a free kick on the side, right?
No, we're talking about a free kick out in front of the 18-yard box.
Okay.
Out in that area.
Yep.
It can be to the left side or the right side. We'll say if you're an offensive player, the ball is on the left side of the field, so I got to cover my right post with a wall. So I'm going to determine as a goalie, most colleges and everything else, the goalie determines how many guys he wants on the wall. Because he wants to know exactly how far over the wall is, so he can cover the far post. He only needs to cover the end of the wall to the far post, still knowing that, Division III soccer, not really worried about a guy dropping the ball over the wall to the far side of the net. I want to cover from the end guy in my wall to my post. And that's how I usually did it all the time. There's one thing that I did very well, is I don't think I ever gave up a free kick goal.
Really?
We worked on it all the time with our defensemen, building those walls. Uh-oh, here we go. Dave's got something.
Did you ever
I saw white smoke come out. Looked like the Pope got elected. He's got a joke.
He says he's never given one. He's never given up. You never gave up a goal on a free kick.
On a free kick.
Because they practice it all the time. And I was just going to say, did you ever think about practicing penalty kicks?
Not much to practice, Dave. It's still guessing. At least this I can lower the percentages on.
Maybe you could have done something like guess the number of jelly beans in a jar, which hand is the walnut in, which is three-card Monty.
One thing that I learned as a coach, that anyone aspiring to be a coach, I picked this up very late, but I used to just build my wall. Everyone would jump in the wall. And then I came across a coach at one point doing a session, and he said, you don't want your best defenders in the wall. Anyone can stand in a wall.
Right.
Have them out in case they don't shoot it and they chip it. You want them heading it out, defending and clearing it. So
that's actually
that was a good tip.
That is a good thing. I like to see the creativity. Any time that you've got a new wrinkle you can bring to a sport, whether it's soccer, football, baseball. I mean, I remember Bill Belichick during the run with the Patriots. At one year, they suffered a ton of injuries to the defensive line, and he would just have players stand up. I mean, they had a fairly terrible – it was one of those defenses that was fairly terrible, but they would force you to basically take a long time to get down the field, and then they would try to get you to settle for a field goal. Yeah. I mean, the team was just not all that but I think the injuries really hurt their defense that year. But then he would stand guys up on the line of scrimmage, and it was just, and he would have them kind of walk up. Even the guys who were down linemen, he would have them walking before. So it wasn't really certain what defense they were in. And I thought that was very creative. And it's always nice to see creativity. And again, you're talking about watching soccer and blah, blah, blah. I think this is what soccer is really good, is when I see the plays of the plays of the night, the plays of the week in sports. And honestly, basketball, there's not much that I've seen that I haven't seen before. Hockey, you do see a lot of creativity, a lot of great stick work in hockey. And soccer, it's nice to see, because you will see things that you haven't seen before in soccer. I mean, a lot of it's the same stuff. You know, the great play, it's like, oh, there's a header on a cross. That's unusual.
Yeah, the Red Bulls actually in the MLS had over 100 set-piece play when Armas was coaching about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
They had to study, and every player had to know all of them and all the steps to get there.
You know what's changed a little bit, which, Dave, when you're watching soccer, I want you to check this out.
Okay.
Paul knows what I'm talking about. Forever, it always used to be you would take two defensive players and you would put them on the inside of your posts. On throw-ins, on corner kicks, you would literally have a player on the goal line, inside the net, inside the back post, and have one on the front post. Because it shortens up what you have to cover as a goalie. I have seen so many goals in the last 10 days with COVID where there is no defensive player on the inside of those posts. And it could have saved, 5 goals over the whole week. And I don't know where that's changed, where they're taking those defenders out of playing from those corner kicks or those far outside direct kicks, where you're not having that back post covered. And as a goalie, it was fantastic to know